Hey guys, it's Matthew with Pasture Management, and today we're going to be building fence and going to be giving a lot of educational videos. This first part of the video, we're going to be talking about how to build a brace. As you've probably heard us say before, the brace is the foundation of the fence, so we want to make sure that you get it right, and we're going to try to help you with that. So here's some of the things that we're going to be using today to build our braces. We're going to be building two different H braces, and we're going to be using two different methods. We're going to use strainers and 12.5 gauge high tensile wire on one of the braces, and we're going to be using the gripple speed brace kit on the other, just to show you two different ways of how to build a great brace. So let's talk about why it's important to build a strong brace on your fence. Your fence braces are the foundation of your fence. It's where all the strength comes from. It doesn't matter what type of wire you use to build your fence. If you don't have a strong brace, the fence will fail when it comes under pressure. When we're building our braces, we need to make sure that we're using the right types of corner post and H-beam post to build our H brace. For a corner post, we're going to want to use a CCA treated wood post with a minimum 6-inch diameter with a minimum of 8 feet long. For our H-beam, it's important that we use a length that is at least 2.5 times the height of the fence. Whereas most fences are around 4 feet tall, a 10-foot H-beam is fairly common. In our fence construction today, we're using a 14 gauge, 2 3/8 inch diameter pipe as our H-beam of choice. However, you can also use a CCA treated wood post. You just want to make sure that the diameter is somewhere between 4 and 6 inches.
We're constructing an H brace here. First thing we're going to do is determine how high above the ground we want to place our H beam, our H brace. Here is a rule of thumb. We want that brace the same distance above the ground as the post is deep in the ground. These posts are approximately 42 inches deep, so I'm going to place my brace pin at the 42-inch height. The next thing we're doing is drilling our hole for our brace pin. Our brace pin's going to hold the brace beam in place. Michael, on this post, you notice he drilled all the way through, and the reason he did that is because we're going to leave a portion of this pin sticking out. On this side of our H brace post, Mike, just let's use this hole and only drill about halfway into that post. We won't drill all the way through. Notice it's drilling level. Good deal. And we'll install this one here. You can use a 5 or 2.5 inch brace pin here. We're using about a 7.5 inch diameter post, so I used a little longer pin. That one is set. We're ready to put the pipe in. We simply slide the H brace onto the pin simply holding it there in place. And again, Mike's pipe now is just hanging on that pin, and I'm going to leave about 1 inch sticking out to rest my brace wire on. At the base of the post, this is going to hold our brace wire down close to the ground. Then I'm going to do an old fence building trick. Take this staple and slide over that one. It's going to act as a bearing surface and let my wire slide around that post instead of cutting into it. On this H brace, we're going to utilize building it with a strainer or a wire tightener in lieu of a gripple. We're using 12.5 gauge high tensile wire. It is class 3 galvanized to build this brace. This is the exact same wire we're going to use to energize when we put our outrigger on this fence. Also, when we put our top wire, our dresser wire on top of this fence, we'll use this same wire. To me, buddy, and I know we'll slip that up in a minute. Simply feed it through, like so. Okay. Now, We're going to go around this post twice. We double this wire. Both through there, that's right. Trim this up just a little bit right here so we got all this in the way. Always like installing my strainer going uphill, so to speak. I do want to put my strainer approximately in the middle of this brace. I don't want it to go to one end or the other, but the middle. Strainer. Run our wire through the back of our strainer. We turn our strainer right side up. Okay. Then tension it. When you're wrapping high tensile wire like this, 3 or 4 good wraps is sufficient. It will not come undone. All right, so I'm going to bend a kink in it so it doesn't fall out. Michael, would you hand me that adjustable wrench, please, sir? Okay, we're going to tension our wire. Now, I'm just going to get this snug for now, and then we'll come back and tighten it in a moment. We're going to stop right there. Now, okay, I'm not crossed up on this end, or your wire's on top of your little bearing up there. Okay, what I'm going to do next is grab this wire and pull on it. And as I pull, notice how we're taking all the slack out of that wire. We're getting this brace tight. You can also notice as I pull how I'm bringing these two posts together. The whole purpose in doing this is tying these two posts together as one assembly. It's making one strong corner. With that done, I will finish tensioning it up. Now, Michael and I are going to work as a team here. Mike, let's start up here where it's a little easier. I'll show folks how we can drive it down there. But if you will, mash that wire all the way together. There you go. And again, I'm going for 3 to 4 uniform wraps, and that will be adequate. Now, next thing I'm going to do, trim these jagged ends off. We don't want to injure an animal in any way. Okay, we're going to come right up here, do the same thing again. Come on, time up here. You know, a minute ago, this wire and this tensioner were out here against the edge of this post, wasn't it? When we stretch that fix knot past it, it's going to be in the way. It's going to hang it. We've brought all this out of the way of the fix knot to the center of the brace. It's not out here on this edge. We pulled it to the center. It's also allowed us to put more tension on this wire. And here's the last thing it's going to do. We're getting ready to make it more horse safe, very similar to the gripple. Folks, let me show you how to do this. Get your adjustable wrench, put it here. Mike, if you push this together and help me out just a little bit, okay, I'm going to tap it down the line. You can see we're stretching this fence up the hill this direction. So we want to pull our brace in the opposite direction. We've built this brace this way because it's pulling the brace back towards me, because when we stretch this fence, it's going to do all it can to pull the fence up the hill. So we braced it in the opposite direction of the pull.
So another method of tensioning a brace is using the Gripple Speed Brace Kit. These kits are an easy and time-saving option for tensioning a brace. So our first step is to take the cable, wrap it around the bottom of the post, sliding it through the staple, coming around, sliding it through the other end of the cable where the eyelet is, wrapping it around the other corner post over top of the brace pin. Then we're going to take the cable, we're going to insert it into the gripple, wrap the gripple back around the post, insert the other end of the cable into the gripple, and then we're going to take our gripple tensioning tool and we're going to tighten the gripple on the cable.
We just simply want to leave this tail long in case we ever have to retension. We can grab it with our tensioning tool, but for safety's sake, we want to pull it down, get some electrical tape, tape it off so it's there and the jagged edge could not harm an animal. We want to keep this hole at the base of the post small enough so an animal could never get their hoof hung in there. Horses, they like to stand across from a fence and paw at one another, but we've got that small, it's safe. A horse is never going to get their hoof hung there. Here, at least that much, because we don't want this cable to slide down the post. If we drove it up flush, it could slip down and then we don't have a brace.
Now that we've shown you how to build a brace, be sure to watch our next video on how to install high tensile fixed knot wire.